Well, hello. How are you?
Splendid.
Filming hasn't started yet, I assume.
No.
Very good, very good. You see, I'm here to try out for the role of Bob. As if anyone else could play him.
Sir, I'm not sure who Bob is, but there is no filming of any sort going on here.
Whoa, hang on. Let me put you on pause right there, little missy. What do you mean? There is no filming today. This isn't one of those tryout, don't call us, we'll call you gimmicks, is it? Because I can't swing that today, quite frankly.
This is the Babysitters Convention, sir.
Babysitters Convention? Who holds a Babysitters Convention in Haddonfield? I mean, did you not watch Halloween?
The movie?
Yes, the documentary.
You mean the one with the guy that teleports?
Yes, that Halloween man in gray mask cutting up the babysitters, yes. Halloween the documentary.
Sir, I think you are confused. I don't believe that the movie is...
I don't need you to explain it to me. I saw the movie. It was a classic.
Okay, regardless, this is a Babysitters Convention.
Okay, you know, if this is a Babysitters Convention, perhaps you should take down the Renaissance Fair decoration from a week ago.
Sir, I'm afraid that is a union job, and Haddonfield is extremely touchy about non-union members doing their work for them.
Okay, look, fine, that's fine, whatever. Let's get serious here. I am willing to concede to your little fantasy that Halloween wasn't a documentary.
Well, I am glad you have come to your senses, sir.
But if you watch that first scene, that is clearly found footage.
Would you like to purchase a ticket or not, sir?
No, I do not want a ticket to your Babysitters Convention. What I want is to play Bob.
Who's Bob?
What do you mean, who's Bob? You know, Bob, the best character. Dresses up like the ghost with the glasses. Has a van. Promiscuous with the babysitters. Gets caught up. But that is a sacrifice that I am willing to make.
You know that guy was just a character and not real, right?
Would you make up your mind? Either he's real or he isn't. It was a documentary or it wasn't, lady. You've got to make up your mind. You know what? If it helps you, I just want to play who Bob represents. Whoever that is.
Well, there is no movie, so I can't say that I'm overcasting.
Okay, fine. I guess I won't get to play Bob and the character will just suck.
That, sir, is a risk that I am willing to take.
Well, what are you gonna do? When in Rome. Am I right? You know, we are in Haddonfield. Perhaps you and I could do a little babysitting of our own. There's some kids down the street.
I don't think...
Haddonfield's full of them. I saw them on the way here. And I watch kids all the time. I love watching kids.
Okay.
I mean, it's my job. I don't know, it's my job. I run security at Crushing Melons. Little frickers always trying to take tickets out of the skee-ball machine without throwing the balls. Little jerks. But I love them. So would you want to do some babysitting?
I'm afraid that won't work out.
You're absolutely right. You'd probably cut into my profits.
Yeah, profits.
But, I saw the way you were looking at me as I was walking up here. It was, undeniably a look of,
Terror.
Yes, at 50,000 feet. I mean, I was going to say wonder, but I guess that works too.
Well, I'm going to have to sternly decline the offer.
Oh, you're too good for me now, is that it? Oh, I see. You know what? I have a wallet. It's in my pocket, okay? I mean, it ain't got much cash in it because the Crushing Melons is doing horribly. But it's real, okay? It's made of leather.
Oh, wow, look at this.
Man, look at all this crap. It's just fidget spinners, babysitting robots, and edible building blocks. Dude, I'm sorry. I was really hoping we'd have the Halloween Renaissance experience.
Oh, no. It's
It
understandable,
looks
man.
like we drove all this way for nothing. I never was good at timing anything up. I apologize.
And don't worry about it. It's nice.
Babysitters, right?
Yeah, Babysitters Club on Halloween? That's not good.
Yeah, it's just so weird that they would have a babysitting convention on Halloween Day.
Right?
You think little kids would be running around dressed up as, I don't know, wolfmen and hobgoblins and... Hey, speaking of which, how's that Spider-Man thing going?
Oh, dude, it's awesome. We've got a couple episodes in the can. Spidey Saturday's coming here soon.
Hey, man, that's pretty good. Sounds like you got a solid start.
Yeah, man.
Hey, whatever you do, though, don't skimp on that introduction song.
That's okay. My co-host nailed it.
Whatever you do, Don't hire any meatball guys or any spice dudes to do any of that.
Yeah,
None
good
of
thinking.
it.
Good
Trust
thinking.
me.
Trust me, I know about that.
Bad news.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. You better come up with something.
I don't know, man. Those people are crazy.
Think of the devil. Do you hear this?
We can't stay down here long. I saw that movie where they crashed into Andre's mountains.
Who's Andre?
They ate all them chocolate mints first and then they ate the people. Now I know they meat. I know what'll happen if we don't get out of this mother soon. I'll be the first one to go.
This is all your fault, Ben. Why do you gotta be so darn attractive? Don't look at me like that. Every time I say something that sounds unreasonable, you look at me like that. Why are you always doing that? It's not helping the matter, Ben.
I'm gonna tell you what, if we don't get out of this soon, I'm gonna have to do the tuck and roll on somebody.
You can't do that. It'll kill a fool. You can't be killing babysitters in Haddonfield. It never ends well. Trust me. I know a guy. He saw this documentary. He said the whole first part is just this guy walking in a mask. And he stabs his sister. And it was a real knife. You can't fake that kind of thing, man.
Hey, man, get me out of here. Somebody's gonna cut me up and turn me into a meatloaf sandwich.
Help!
I need somebody.
Help!
Not just anybody.
Help! Help! Anybody! Anybody help me to the tunnel with us! Help!
Simon?
Anybody but him! Anybody but him!
How about you just
Help.
go away? Yeah. You're gonna attract an angry mob.
Here they are.
Hey, Rob, we saved.
Yeah, we might save you. I mean, it depends. I mean, you need help.
Yeah.
Can it be anybody?
I want somebody to love. That's why I came to this babysitters convention.
Poor guy.
Huh. I don't know, Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, we should help him out.
What? Guys, how did you even get down in that tunnel?
Well, duh. We were headlining the show here.
The show? What show?
Wait, really? Are you sure? I sent in promotional material.
Oh, promo material?
Huh.
Okay.
Probably just an honest mistake. Anyway, we were playing the show, and Ben had to show off his synth wizardry and his nunchuck skills. And I guess this being a Renaissance babysitter's fair, they thought he was a witch, and they chased us right down into the old tunnel of love.
What?
Now, let me tell you something. You gotta get us out of here. There's some weird crap down here.
Really? Like what?
No. The Renaissance Fair was last week. This is a babysitter's convention.
Yeah, a Renaissance Fair Babysitters Convention.
No,
I don't think
it's
there is
just a
such a
babysitter's
thing.
convention. The Renaissance Fair was last week.
Yeah.
I told you, Ben, they didn't think you was a witch. You're just a dreamboat. The babysitters love you. Alright, don't look at me like that. Wait, what are you doing here then if it's just a babysitter's convention?
Well, I mean, some
Well-
people just like going to babysitters
Yeah.
conventions.
My wife was a babysitter
Rob?
once. That's right. My wife was a babysitter once. So we're just paying tribute to Christabel.
Yes, some people do like going to babysitters conventions. People that have a shot at picking up the babysitters.
Oh,
What's that got to do with you, bub?
Okay, fine. We got our schedule wrong. Okay, I got our schedule
didn't have to say
wrong.
that.
Okay, we're here a week late. But you're down in the tunnel and we're not. So, you want our help or not?
Hey, don't take that time with us. It's not our fault we're that good. We up on stage and chase us off like we the Beagles.
Beagles?
The Beatles?
The Bengals.
The Beagles.
Yeah, walk like an Egyptian.
They chase us off stage like we the Beagles, boy.
Yeah, they wanted a ticket to ride the Tramer train. They were all beep, 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 yeah. We were all going, no. Chased us right down here to Willy Wonka's medieval funhouse with a torture rack.
Okay, look, I'm glad you're here, Rob.
Yeah, man.
I don't even think this Ben guy's real. What do you think?
I don't know. He seems,
Is Ben even
he
real?
seems kind of made
Is he
up.
down? I mean, is he even real? You real, Ben? You down there?
I'm as real as people's interest in your podcast.
Oh, no, that was just me.
I mean, that sounds like conclusive proof to me. Can't argue with that.
Man,
Yep,
brutal.
that does it. That's it. So you gonna help us or not?
How? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, they are stuck. What else we gonna do? And we're here anyway.
Well, I got a plan, you see. We can't let them see Ben or they're gonna flog him again, okay? Now you can hear that crazy crowd behind us at the back entrance. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to sneak Ben out the front. And one of you two are gonna have to dress up like Ben and walk out the back. Don't worry, we'll give you a spectacular entrance.
That means one of us is going to get beaten.
I can do it.
Something else. I don't know. I can't tell if they like him or hate him at this
Yeah,
point.
I really can't either. But I'll take a shot.
Well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
No!
Ladies and gentlemen of Haddonfield, how you doing? Is that Adam Bruce getting you cool out there? Well, that's okay, because you about to have your face melted off. Introducing. How much you weigh, Rob?
165.
165 pounds of nunchuck stealing centipede, Mr. Ben Tramer.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna practice this, man.
Yeah, get it up for him. Yeah.
Do the pyro.
Sparklers, channel my sandwich here. Okay,
Right
here we go.
Fire off your bottle rockets, man. Hey, go, Rob.
Oh yeah, let me tell you something right now, me.
Take out the mic.
I've heard the whispers. I've been hearing all the little jealous men in the back running their mouths about my lady Christabeth here. You see, I know they've got lust in their eyes, yeah. But they better watch themselves because the macho man's got eyes on them. Oh yeah. All you guys out there think you can look at her like she's a trophy, huh? Yeah, you can dream about being the macho man's shoes, yeah, but let me tell you something. You ain't worthy, not even close. You see, Christabeth, she's not just a beautiful woman, no. She is the queen of the madness, and I am the king. She's not to be disrespected by a bunch of no-good, low-down, dirty slime balls. Oh, no. Comparatively speaking, you are nothing but garbage.
Wait a second, wait, whoa. That's not what Ben Tramer would sound like if he could actually talk. He's the one that's killing babysitters.
Jeez.
I shot him 6 times.
Idiots.
Evil. Yeah, I shot him 6 times too. He's evil. Get him, you heard him.
Welcome, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the show. It gives you the things that you don't want at the time you don't want them. Every 2 weeks. This is regular time, just a regular show about the regular show. I'm your host, that one guy with the weird name that's hard to say. Nobody cares. With me today for this special spooky occasion is Mr. Rob Luther. How are you, Mr. Rob?
Ooh, spooky. I'm doing great, man. Super excited to be here again, my friend. And I cannot wait to talk about this spectacular episode.
I swear, Halloween in July is something else, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Yeah, trick-or-treating's way hotter now.
Yeah. Look, when I put out that one episode the other day, I predicted that it would be Christmas in July, and it was July that I put it out.
I noticed that.
So now we're doing Halloween in July. All right. Yes.
Right. I was mowing the grass, and I was like, oh, he nailed it. He just totally called that.
All right. So I forgot last time. Well, it won't be last time for everybody listening, but Rob and I have already recorded the season finale of season 2. But I forgot last time to have you plug your stuff and get your high spots. So, Mr. Rob, before we begin, where can everybody find you and what can they listen to you? That's a good question, isn't it? What can they listen to you? Where can they listen to you?
That's deep. I don't know.
Yes. It's one of those Drax Destroyers.
I love it. Well, first of all, thank you, man. It was a great time last time, and it's great to talk regular show again this time. But yeah, I've got a couple of podcasts that I do. There's Turtles Forever that Kirkland and I we definitely try to talk about Ninja Turtles on there, and whenever we can. It's been a little tricky to schedule things recently or lately, I should say. But that's you can follow us basically where any of your podcasts are. Also do a retro gaming podcast called the Retro Junkies with my good buddy Landon. And once again, that's kind of been an inconsistent show this year. And also you and I are working on a podcast called Spidey Saturdays, which I hope by the time you hear this, maybe some episodes are out. I'm going to launch it probably at the beginning of January of 2025. And yeah, super fun. We just kind of go through the Spider-Man comics one at a time and I guess we're going in chronological order. Because we're reading these, for both of us, pretty much for the first time, and we're kind of experiencing it together. So it's really cool. And since we're both '90s kids, kind of growing up, we do a lot of comparisons between the original comics and the 1995 cartoons. So that's been a lot of fun. So yeah, you can check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere you can get your podcast. Again, that's Turtles Forever, the Retro Junkies, which I love to do with my good buddy Landon, and now Spidey Saturdays. I'm running out of time to do these things, but it's almost like being a kid, right? You've got your Ninja Turtle toys, you play with those for a little bit, you put those down. Right now, I've been picking up the Spidey toys. That's the only way I can put it.
You never had them like fight each other.
Oh, absolutely, crossovers all the time, and sometimes the Hot Wheels would get in on it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we could do the Ninja Turtle comics like we do the Spider-Man comics and just speed through them.
Oh, that would be fun. I'd love to do that.
Forget accuracy. We're just going for speed. So many happy accidents. Yes. So if you're putting that out in January, this sucker's going to be out. Well, I'm putting this puppy out at Halloween.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
So stay tuned. A couple more months.
All right. So probably, if you haven't guessed by the title of the show, hopefully whoever put it up didn't screw that one up. Or what I just said about Halloween, we are going over Terror Tales of the Park Part 1 today. I realize that a review of that is already on the channel, but due to several different things, we're going to do Terror Tales of the Park Part 1. And I think, honestly, that's good because I didn't do the review last time and Rob wasn't here to do the review. And this is an episode worth going into a deep dive on instead of just having two babbling idiots go off on tangents. We have one babbling idiot going off on a tangent and the other guy here, our guest, keeping us on track. So that's what that other show didn't have. So let's see. Terror Tales of the Park aired, according to the wiki, aired October 10th, 2011. Now I looked to see if there was an Adventure Time episode that aired alongside that, and it didn't say there was. So there was a Gumball episode, Johnny Test, there was a whole bunch of Scooby-Doo movies. Apparently the Legend of the Phantosaur came out that year. I believe I've seen that. I've seen pretty much all the Scooby-Doo movies except for maybe Samurai Sword. I don't recall seeing that one, but when I had Boomerang, I binge-watched that sucker. So, there's a Secret Mountain Fort that comes up. Basically, nothing as good as regular show coming on the main Cartoon Network block. Now, there's some great King of the Hill episodes coming on Adult Swim. Full Metal Dust Jacket. That's where Peggy buys the bookstore or rents out the bookstore to sell books, and nobody's buying books, so Dale opens up a gun shop below it. And then Megalodale, they have it mislabeled as Megalodate. That's not correct. I can just tell by the title, though. That's the one where Dale thinks that Chuck Mangione is hanging out in Megalomart, and hilarity ensues. I remember the first time I saw that, Rob. My dad was sitting downstairs, and he was watching it on the TV, and there's a part where there's a bunch of parts, but there's a part where Boomhauer gets in one of those things that you stand on, you put your arms out and you tie it to it and it spins like a gyroscope or whatever.
Yeah.
Boomhauer gets in one and you see like, you can't tell if he's like imagining Chuck Mangione or it's a horror. It's like horror. It's hilarious, but it's like a horror episode. But then Bill comes running out, leave me alone. And he's got a blood pressure cuff hooked to his arm. He's ripped it out of the machine, where you sit down in the Walmart or whatever, he's ripped it out of the wall because somebody, we don't know if it's Chuck Mangione or not, but they're chasing him, and you just hear "leave me alone" from the side, like your right ear, and then he comes running down the aisle, and he's still got that thing on, and it's just a hilarious episode. That's one of my favorites actually for King of the Hill, but so yeah, Halloween's ramping up. I guess that regular show wanted to get theirs out in plenty of time. Now, the things that Rob was mentioning this earlier, and this, hopefully, if you're a fan of The Simpsons, you recognize this. This might be the epitome of regular show taking inspiration from The Simpsons. I mean, this is very much like the Treehouse of Horrors. It's anthology-like in nature. 3 different stories, and they're like what Rob you were saying earlier that it's very it's got some scary moments in it, but it's still kind of a comedy at heart.
Right. It's just like The Simpsons, like especially the earlier Treehouse of Horrors that I've seen. I haven't seen some of the more recent ones, but there's a lot like surprising horror in it. You're like, holy cow! I can't believe they got away with this, especially the Treehouse of Horror stuff. We see that here. There's some violence, there's some gore here, but it's just funny enough and fun enough to where it's not that scary. So I think it captures perfectly the tone of those early Treehouse of Horror episodes from The Simpsons for sure. And it's that intangible thing. It's hard to define, but this episode totally does it so well.
Yeah. And I think before we even begin, the thing that I like about this is they do get away with more on these episodes, very akin to the way that they get away with certain jokes on season 1 that they kind of toned down a little bit on season 2. They had to make up for it in different areas on season 2, with production quality and clever writing and whatnot, whereas season 1 was a bit more crude. They kind of get away with some of those jokes here, but you have that refinement of the season 2, season 3 in this. Now, I realize when this comes out, we're still talking about season 2. There's no Halloween episode in season 2. I was wanting to do season 4, but I figured it's probably the way it'll line up by the time this podcast ends, or by the time we get to the end of the regular show, we're going to run out of Halloween episodes. So I figured, why not give this one an actual fair critique as opposed to just rushing through all the Halloween episodes. So, and also I think that, I was telling Rob that I think that this is one of Nick Baxter's favorite episodes. He messaged me one time. So,
hey,
yeah,
got good taste, buddy.
That's right. So let's see. I guess I'll give a synopsis here because it's very short. Mordecai Rigby and other groundskeepers tell each other scary stories. So there you go. That's basically
Nailed it.
So yeah. So production code. Now here's the weird thing. You're starting to get production codes like they pop up on the Cartoon Network. The schedules or whatever that I pull up for certain dates. There'll be this one. These two are 1009044 for part 1 and 1009-045 for part 2. So it's kind of, I don't know if this is like the 45th episode overall, or I've mentioned that. You'll hear it later in the podcast as you're listening to this, but like this is kind of confusing me. I'm not very sure how to read production codes. So whatever. So how fitting, we're recording the 25th. This aired July 23rd, 2012 in the UK. This is weird. Okay, July 23rd, 2012 in UK for part 1. That's the doll and the crash pit. And October 31st, Halloween 2012 for part 2 in the UK. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah, that's kind of odd, but I like how I think it's better that they put them both as like back-to-back, one bulk episode. Weird thing about this episode, though, is it only had 1.97 million viewers, and that's one of the lowest viewership we've seen so far. And I don't even think that's indication of the previous episode. You'll see as we get in season 3, Skip strikes out or something, Skip, whatever. I don't know. It's a bowling episode. It's pretty good from what I remember.
Now, I'd be interested to see what the ratings are for part 2 of this episode. I wonder if they're a lot higher based on how good the first part was.
They both aired the same day, so they had the same viewership pretty much.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that's a good... Well, in the UK, though, but here's the thing. It's probably so out of order that they didn't even notice until later. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they probably didn't even make a big deal about it in the UK. That, like, this is a continuation. So... But, let's see. Story is... Oh, yeah, Rob, you were saying you think maybe it was because, it's contending with other Halloween specials or something, it's on something else is on TV. And that's, probably the case.
Maybe a sport or something. That's the only thing I could think of because this is a great episode. Probably one of the best I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely... It would honestly, if you take both of them in combination, it's in my top 10, I would say. It's definitely not number 1, but it's way up there. So let's stop dilly-dallying, I guess. No guitar solo questions this time. Credits. I don't know what a credit is. I'm thinking a Karai, I guess, from Ninja Turtles, but credits. Directed by Mike Roth, written and storyboarded by J.G. Quintel for story 1, Andre Saloff for story 2, Ben Adams for story 2, Sean Seals for story 2, that's the music guy, and Kat Morris for story 3. Okay, so basically the voice actors, they're like all, we got them, we got everybody in this pretty much because you have pretty much every character. That's what's great about these episodes. So do you want to start off or do you want me to start off?
It doesn't matter, man. Whatever you want.
Okay. So just to be transparent with the listener here, we're probably going to be running through this show as we go along. It's just, there's a lot going on in these stories and don't want to really miss anything. So if you hear anything in the background, don't sue us, Cartoon Network, and listener, please be patient. So the show starts out, you got the birds chirping, and basically it starts off like a normal episode. Mordecai and Rigby are helping Pops move stuff, and they're like, we got all the boxes here, and Pops, oh, wonderful, wonderful. And it's very basic dialogue. And eventually, I think it's Rigby. Actually, I just saw something. We get a call back to That's My Jam. The sunglasses that the cassette tape's wearing are laying on the floor. I think that's its sunglasses.
Nice.
I think so. But you gotta, basically they're like, Pops is like, I don't know what to keep, what to throw away. And Mordecai's like, basically, if it's cool, you keep it. And it shows a pile. And the only thing there is the sunglasses. That's
right.
it. Then there's another pile of all this other crap that's probably more important than sunglasses. He says, if it's not cool, you throw it away. And Rigby hollers out, he's like, I found something cool, last box, something like that. And this is just comedic gold right here. They open up a box, and I thought it was a ventriloquist doll, but it's not. It's this really old case pops open. And Rob, when you first look at this doll, who does that remind you of?
Oh, man. He does look vaguely familiar, but I can't think of.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know. Who did you think of?
His name, I think it's John Lovitz. I don't know if that's his actual name. I don't know if that's the exact name, but he's the guy that does the ladies' night thing on Wedding Singer.
Oh, yeah, John Lovitz. Love John Lovitz.
Yes, he looks like him, dude. His face looks just like him.
Really? Now I got to go back and see this.
I mean, it just does, dude.
Oh, I could see that a little bit. The lips. Yes.
They're like, what is that? And Pops goes crazy. He's like, and he picks it up, and I think he's like, he picks it up, and he's like shaking it back and forth, and the little legs are like flopping back and forth, and it's like ragdoll physics. And he holds it up, and this dang doll has crow's feet under its eyes. He's like, this is my old friend Percy, and it's a creepy doll. It's just,
oh yeah.
He says, pretty cool, ain't it? And they're both like, no, not cool.
Definitely not cool.
He says, but he is cool. He's the most sophisticated doll of his day. And he waves his hand over in front of his face like, SpongeBob imagination. And we get a great shot of Pops, the picture on the back wall. He's got his hand on his chin looking up to the side like he's thinking,
I love those.
It's one of the best framed pictures of him. Here's the cool thing, though. His top hat in like the I won't say real life, but like the Pops that is like real or whatever, his top hat has a black stripe on it, whereas the Pops in the pictures top
white.
Hat has yep.
Good point.
I didn't know. That's the first time I've ever noticed that. But he says he is cool. He comes prepared with over, I think he's just like 200 phrases. Yeah. And he pulls the pull string, like Woody off Toy Story, and it's like, I want to draw on your face, Now,
okay, when he said that in that voice, I was like, what? I lost it right there.
He's like, isn't that cool? They're like, no, it's creepy. And then, he says, well, you never know what he's going to say next. So it's like, of all the things that it could say, and when he says that, he says, I'm going to draw on your face. Pops does that whole laughing thing. He's, ha, 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 and he's flipping him back and forth in front of his face again. That's one of the best parts of the episode, honestly, is just Pop's reaction. Because he's like, it's like you wouldn't hold a child that way. I mean, he's just like shaking the thing, and its arms are just flinging back and forth. It's just, I don't know. The physics of this doll is one of the high points.
Oh, yeah, and the quick cuts. The quick cuts are so good in this episode.
So, I think they said that's creepy. And, yeah, Pop says, what are you talking about? And he says, Percy's not at all creepy. And he pulls the pull string again, and the doll goes, seriously, I'm going to draw on your face, It's like, what the crap? And it's so creepy, though, because the mouth isn't moving, but the eyes of this thing, it's got like the crow's feet under it or the bags under the eyes. And it has like, I don't know if that's rouge or what on its cheeks. And like a little double chin.
But now all I see is John Lovitz. So you've ruined this for me.
Dude, can you not just imagine John Lovitz's voice, though?
Seriously, I'm going to draw on
your face.
Mr. Devil.
They keep recycling this whole trope of Pop shaking the doll, and it's just arms and him laughing. But the last one, after he says that, he goes, "La la 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 la." You know, I don't know what la 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 mean. You know, like why he's doing that. But I guess last thing to say about this doll is it's very like, I guess, Victorian era. It's not wearing pantaloons, but it's wearing like those black pants with the stockings and the black shoes and like the little frivolly prints sleeves, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that's called, but yeah, so super creepy doll. I mean, I wouldn't want one. I mean,
No.
You know,
Especially one that drew on my face. Jeez.
So basically, Mordecai and Rigby have a talk with him, and they're like, "Look, this isn't cool." And basically, the moral of the story here, or for the first 3 minutes, is that it's not cool for grown people to play with dolls. Now, what do you think of that, Rob?
You know, I don't know if I agree with Mordecai and Rigby on this one.
They are only like 21, so you don't gotta agree with them.
But you know what? They're only 21. I'm sure there was a phase maybe where I was like early 20s where I'm like, I'm done with that stuff. But now that I'm pushing 40, I'm like, you know what? What's wrong with collecting these toys and playing with these old toys?
Yeah, I've seen your toy bin. I saw all of the turtle. You know, I still got the splinter you gave me up there. Yeah.
Oh,
right
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, earlier today I was playing. I was the dog and I was Ken in my daughter's Barbie dream house. So,
there you go.
There you go.
Well, see, you do have kids though, so I
it's
probably
a lot
should
more
just
socially
stop
acceptable
talking.
when you have kids. Yeah.
But I don't really have any dolls to play with anymore. I don't know why we keep talking. It's a little bit more comforting to call them action figures, but
Right.
In this case, we'll find out that, you know, maybe they're misunderstanding, but in this case, it's just a coincidence that they are probably correct. And this whole not cool to play with doll thing is going to circle back around towards the end of the episode. So don't let me forget that, because it's just ironic how this theme plays out throughout the whole thing, and I'll get to it. You want to take over?
Oh, sure. So the next day, you know, Pops, he's swinging on the swing set, and Mordecai and Rigby, they meet up with him. Before all that happened, as Kirkland said, you know, they've already had a discussion with Pops, and Pops is like, yes, I'm going to get rid of him. Then sure enough, on the swing set, Pops turns around, and he's not only clutching Percy, but he has a marker all over his face. It's so spooky. I mean, it's terrifying. And the music that accompanies this scene is so hilarious, and I can't wait till we talk about, like, a little bit later on some of the fight scenes and the music. It's great.
Yeah.
So Mordecai and Rigby, they decide they're going to, poor Pops, he can't do it. He can't bring himself to do it. So they're going to dispose of Percy themselves. And then we were talking about quick cuts just a minute ago. So it's a really funny scene where Mordecai's like, don't worry, Pops. We'll take good care of it. You don't have to worry about it. And then literally quick cuts to a trash can. They throw Percy in there and walk away.
Here's the cool thing about that. I noticed that when I was watching it today. They bank shot him off the wall, and Percy's head like bounces off the wall.
Yes, exactly. You know what I wrote down on that scene is, I don't know if you've seen it. I'm sure you have. You've seen probably like every single Simpsons episode, but it's the part where, I can't remember. I don't think it was Dr. Hibbert. It was maybe Dr. Nick. And he's like, this is the part of the job I hate. And then he throws this dead hamster in into like this trash bin that's got a like basketball net over it. And it bounces off the backboard and into the trash can.
That's great.
So it made me think of that a little bit. Just the quick cut there.
So part of me on this Pops with his being drawn on the face, I think part of me thinks that they got like good reception from the episode Dizzy, where I've put that one out, haven't I? At this point,
yes, I remember that one.
I love that episode. Just basically because of the drawings of Pop's face, but this is very kind of like a callback to that. But he's got like horns and I'm looking at it right now. He's got like these, like it looks like his mustache is making wings or something, and he kind of looks like an Articuno. I mean,
a little bit, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, or is that? Well, no, more of an Articuno, but like the thing, there's a baby duck, not the actual character. I haven't put that episode out yet, but like. By the time everybody's listening to this, there's a duck, one of those little toy swings, or you sit on them and they rock back and forth, little rocking duck.
Mm-hmm.
Regular show seems to have a thing with ducks. Whatever.
Huh, but, I never noticed that.
Yeah, continue, please.
Oh, no, good stuff. So, a little while later, Mordecai and Rigby, they're playing video games, which I love that their system looks a lot like an old Sega Master System. And they're just mindlessly kind of looking at the screen. And all of a sudden they hear rustling and banging. So they kind of decide they're going to check on Pops and see. And that's when they see that Percy, once again, is wanting to draw on Pop's face. So Mordecai and Rigby, they confront Percy, with Mordecai even whacking Percy in the head with a baseball bat. And Percy shouts, "You're all going to get drawn on." And then he runs at them with dangly arms, and this just cracked me up, those flailing arms. So I think this is the part where the creepy music really kicks in. It's like a tribute to the Halloween theme a little bit, but it's just great. So,
well, this whole episode, like from the point where they see it in the room, it's almost like a tribute to a bunch of different horror movies.
Right.
Because like when they go up in that room and Pops is like talking to it, that's kind of creepy in itself. But he's talking to Percy. Mm-hmm. And Percy's like, "No, I don't want no tea. I want to draw on your face." But he's got like an expo marker, and he's holding it like a knife. So it's like a Chucky type thing. And he starts chasing him with the knife, And Rigby's kind of, "Get the psycho off of me." And he's holding them, swinging them around in a circle, But like you said, when it gets down there, the Halloween type thing, before even into the music, we see the first person view from Percy's point of view, which is similar to that first shot in the original Halloween.
Yeah, for sure. Through the mask.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. And by the way, the animation or the background design of the basement was very creepy. I got to give them a lot of credit. It was super creepy seeing a shot of Mordecai and Rigby from the top of the basement stairs. And then, the design of the basement itself. And then you even see Percy in the corner going, "Draw, draw."
Yeah.
Then he eyes a shovel. Great scene right there.
It makes me wonder how I'm rewatching it right now, how they walk down the steps. Oh, never mind. It doesn't show them. I thought it might be the whole, Michael Myers, the way he walks down the steps.
Oh, that'd be cool.
One of these Halloween episodes, I can't remember which one it is, but they get knocked down the steps. And it's exactly it's a Family Guy homage. Like they do the whole Peter Griffin roll down the steps ragdoll thing, So right. Like they do. I mean, there's actually a lot of like stare jokes in this show later on. So, but yeah, super great background, like you said.
Oh yeah, with a blazing furnace in the basement as well. So that might come into play later. So Percy, he honks Mordecai and Rigby in the back of the head, knocking them unconscious, and then he commands Pop to hand him the marker. But Pop decides to say no. If you want to do Pop's impression, I will turn it back over to you, my friend.
No. But it's like, "Yeah, Pops, give me the marker so I can draw their face." It's so funny, though, watching him hold that shovel. He just looks like a chubby little kid out of shape, running with the shovel, and he bashes him in the back of the head. Those eyes, that's what do it, man. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, they turn red a few times, too.
Yeah.
And that's like an ongoing thing with this episode, which I loved, or the entire episode.
And here's the thing. So the guy doing the voice acting, I don't know. I'm thinking it's William Sawyers who does Rigby. But
I thought so too. Just a deeper version. Yeah,
he does a good job as Percy. I mean, I got to give him that. But he's like, "Bring me the marker," and Pops is like, "No, it's not cool for old men to play with dolls." So here's the cool thing. Like Rob was saying with the music.
Yes.
It starts out and it's like, at first I'm like, okay, that's subtle, but it's there. When he hits him in the head with the shovel and he's walking towards him, you hear those piano stabs, that bump, but which is like when Michael Myers is kind of in pursuit, but it's not like, full blaze. It's like those pursuit scenes, like he's just walking and you're getting the chord stabs.
Right. The ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I mean, they're really heavy. They're just like, bum, bum. And I think sorry, Rob, you know me, tangents, but I think if the most recent Halloween trilogy did anything right, it was the music. Mm-hmm. Some of the music in that first one that came out was just fantastic. I mean,
oh yeah, John Carpenter just killed it.
Yes, I mean nothing will ever replace his original work, but like there was one where he's chasing that dude, and there was something to do with like a gate, and the guy falls on the gate or something. I don't know, but like there's like really heavy electric guitar, and then you get like those piano chords, like bam, 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 and it's just super suspenseful. But so Pops here, he bites his lip. It's not cool for old men to play with dolls, and you have to go away now, Percy. And Percy gets this look on his face like, it's almost for a split second. He's like, what's he saying? I can't believe this. And then it turns to anger. And he's like, give me that marker. And he runs at him. And they start running at each other in slow motion. Percy's got his hands held out. And Pops, he's very determined. But, it's like the, kind of the old man run. And it's playing a version of, it's like a variation on the Halloween thing. It's legally different, but it's obviously inspired by it. I think it may even be in 5/4, but very similar motif. Probably, honestly, what they did was they took this thing, pitched it down on a MIDI map, and then just changed some of the notes. Pitched them up a few and maybe changed, which is that's going to change the harmony of it. But they probably started with, if I had to guess, Sean Seals took Now that I know how that works, that he just took a MIDI map of all that stuff. Maybe they did it from, I don't know, scratch. But this, I think I actually did something like this on a Halloween episode at one point, but putting it in reverse harmony, which is ridiculous sounding. But, this is not, I don't think this is reverse harmony, but it's very, it's a good song. But anyway, it doesn't last long. Pops runs and he actually kicks Percy right in the face.
Yeah, I mean, like no struggle whatsoever. I love the slow, dramatic build up, and then it's like an easy kick.
Well, here's the thing. Pops is kind of he's one of my favorite characters, but he's kind of an inconsistent character because I don't think they knew what they wanted to do with him through the whole series, really. Because some episodes he's like this, it's just like, or he's in really real wrestling, he's an expert wrestler. Or in one of the Christmas episodes, he wrestles a freaking bear and beats it. Oh,
yeah, and in the karaoke episode, he punched a guy out.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he,
while singing a song.
Like I said, I think that was just out of excitement. But and some episodes, well, I'm just going to leave that alone. But some episodes, he's like weak as water, and some of them it's just to play a joke. They go to something. It's an episode to do with like a toilet or something. I can't remember, but they go to this country club and Pops is like bare knuckle boxing this guy, and he's got his mustache like old timey handlebar and everything. And those two, yeah. But anyway, he gets beat up there too. So, but here he just kicks Percy right in the face. Percy goes, which I mean, it's a doll, so Percy just goes flying right into the furnace. So. Maybe a Nightmare on Elm Street type homage, I'm not sure. But I gotta say, I guess for the first so many minutes, I'd forgotten about this. Mordecai Rigby, are you all right? Yeah, I guess. And then Percy jumps out of the fire, rah! And then you think he's going to get him, but right away he runs out of breath and falls down and pretty much dies. And you know what? That's a callback too.
That seems so familiar. Give me a second. Not Terminator.
No, not Terminator. Well, yeah, in Terminator there was, Terminator. He didn't die right after though. Right after he comes back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'm sorry.
We can just call this the Wes Craven. Like, it's Scream. Remember, there's always the jump scare at the end and they shoot him in the head.
Yes. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, so he dies right, jump scare, and then he dies right after. So, and I would almost bet money that that's what they were going after here. That's just me, though. But, so Percy just lays there, and they kind of look at it, and this is very typical for the regular show. They just sit there, and they're all just kind of looking at Percy. And Mordecai says, see, Pops, we told you dolls aren't cool. Playing with dolls isn't cool, something like that. This is kind of like the Ninja Turtles. Let's go home.
Yep, exactly.
Let's go home.
Story's over.
I guess that's like a classic way to end something, but I find it very funny that, like, the whole episode, they keep saying it's not cool to play with dolls and everything, but it's like, there's a moral kind of in this story. I don't exactly know what it is, but like, it's not that it's not cool to play with dolls. And I'm not saying that it is cool to play with dolls. I'm just saying I think it's funny how they keep pointing this one thing out, but it really isn't what the episode's about. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's all about the doll's unnatural desire to mark on things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I love how Pops has to explain it.
And the quick cut, Pops, the end. So we find out that they're all in the living room and they're telling Halloween stories. And that was Pop's story, which is, when you think about it, it's like, that is so Pops. You know what I mean? That is, so I guess that's why, Pops is so empowered in this episode or whatever. But it's great. They're all looking at him like, Muscle Man's looking at him like he can't believe what he just said. Fives is looking at him almost like he's terrified, but I don't know. Skips is kind of like, this is just a waste of my time, And Mordecai's like, I guess that was kind of scary. And like Rob said, he goes, yes, because the doll's unnatural desire to mark on something's face, And he's got his pointer finger up, and he's squinting at him and smiling. So, yeah. Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry, I yapped too long.
No, that was great. No. I was going to say it. This was a funny first story, and I like how with this, it's not like we got that frame story where they're in the living room in the first place, and then it jumps into Pop's story. The story just starts straight up with the story.
Yeah,
and then we get cut to, okay, this is going to be an anthology, because we keep getting these callbacks to the present time where a different character tells the story. And I like that. That's a slightly different from what The Simpsons did with it, which I dig it.
And here's the thing, like, they do that throughout this whole episode. Like, it's crazy if I may have listened to that Marceline Playground episode, and if they got anything right, this episode's like a story within a story within a story, which is
good point.
An awesome like episode layout. Like it's the first time I saw this, I thought that's deep. That's like Adventure Time was thought of as being like the deep lore type show around this time, but this is like really giving them a run for their money as far as deep thought going into just creative type episodes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. My hat's off to Marceline's Playground for putting that out. I mean, they know what they're doing.
They got to have somebody to produce all their episodes, dude. That bald guy, he does all their episodes.
Well, they pay him in lollipops, don't they?
I guess maybe he gets free food at that restaurant truck. I don't know, whatever. I mean, I don't pay them, so I guess I can't really say. But I guess you bringing that up, though, I guess I brought up Marceline's Prime, but not the props to them, but definitely not props to them. But the whole episode layout of the Terror Tales of the Park, a lot of them are kind of like this. They're not exactly the same, but a lot of them, from what I recall, do have like an overarching story, and they're telling like stories as they go along. Or there's a couple of them, I think, that are like just like a Halloween party, which are really fun episodes because there's all kinds of costumes to pop culture references. And yeah, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but just real quick, Stephen Bloom, he Spike Spiegel and Tom from Toonami, and he's voiced all kinds of stuff, but he voices I can't remember the character's name. That's horrible, but he's like a technomancer. He's good with technology, It's horrible that I can't remember his name. I hate that, but he's one of Skip's buddies from the past, I believe. But anyway, he attends one of their Halloween parties in one of the future episodes, and he is dressed up as Spike Spiegel, which is, it's crazy because Stephen Bloom's voicing him, and he also voices Spike Spiegel, and he's dressed up as Spike Spiegel. And we also see Pops is dressed up either as Michael Jackson, the Beat It outfit, or it might be Eddie Murphy, the Raw stand. I don't. But anyway,
that's cool.
Just go. Yeah, sorry, that's another tangent. But like a lot of these Terror Tales of the Park are great, and I think one of them towards the end is even like a Christmas themed Terror Tales of the Park. So yeah, so there's really some cool stuff. But so. Sorry, Rob, it was your turn. I'm sorry.
So, quick question about that. Do they call these Terror Tales of the Park part 2? Is that what they do each year or each season, or is it something slightly different?
I think so for most of the part. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% sure. But I am pretty sure. Like if you look at the episodes, I think if you just look at the episode listing on like Max or Hulu or whatever, it's going to just say, Crash Pit or Metal Crash Pit or like this one did. But I think like they're officially collectively known as the Terror Tales of the Park. Maybe not officially, but I'm pretty sure that that's at least, what most of the people refer to them as online.
Cool. I'm excited for part 2. That'll be cool. Well, speaking of part 2 or story 2 here, we get the next story. And of course, Muscle Man, he's like, ugh, lame. He's going to storm off. And as he's leaving, like Mordecai's like, can we seriously stop inviting them to come to things? Because he's always, Muscle Man's always storming off. So it's a foggy, spooky night, and Muscle Man and Fives, they're making their way home, and he can't hardly see anything, so he trips over a rock, and he decides he's going to hurl it into the fog, into the mist. But to his surprise, as he hurls the rock into the mist, it hits something. And upon further inspection, it's a crashed RV, or as he calls it, a big pile of car barf. Which I love that. A big pile of car barf. I can't do Muscle Man.
Big pile of car barf.
And this is where Muscle Man gets the brilliant idea of driving it into a crash pit, or into the crash pit.
Yeah. Okay, so the crash pit, here's the cool thing about this. I don't know if the crash pit has come up yet or not. Maybe it does come up earlier in season 3, but there's a whole episode dedicated to the crash pit, and then it also makes like a return in maybe 1 or 2 other episodes of like more epic proportions, where like everything gets pulled in. I think if this is the first one, I mean, props to this story for being not only a Halloween special, but also setting up a great regular show episode in the crash pit. Cool. So yeah. What do you think the fog? What do you think they're calling back to there?
Could it be the Stephen King movie? Is it called The Fog? I think it is, isn't it?
Maybe. Or The
Mist?
I was thinking Silent Hill.
Ooh, Silent Hill, I could see that.
But yes, I didn't even think of The Fog. That's all speculation on my part. I didn't. You're probably right. I don't know if they were Konami fans or not.
Something told me they were. I could see that.
Yeah. Espionage, they like it.
So we get a hilarious Motley Crue themed montage flashback to 2 weeks before, where Muscle Man is taking old cars and crashing them into a giant pit in the ground in front of hundreds of fans. And I just love how the whole town kind of comes together for this. We get back to the present timeline, and Muscle Man and Fives, they grab the keys and they're going to crank the RV. So sure enough, they get the advice that the keys are up there. He goes, oh, like it happens every time. I can't remember how it goes, but so he does donuts in the field. He's going, savage, savage, savage.
Yeah, savage. And I think that's the only time he says that, like in the whole series.
Yeah.
I don't think that's stuck.
And yeah, I'll turn it back over to you because this next part's great.
So I got to go back to the crash pit here. It's such a short clip, but it's just so hilarious to think about how they come up with that concept. I mean, how they were storyboarding. I can just imagine J.G. Quintel. So Muscle Man's going to drive this Chrysler or whatever this is towards this hole in the ground, and he's going to get out and he's going to run like this. And I can just imagine him running in the studio because Muscle Man kind of trots over to the golf cart and jumps in it. Now, later on, they take cameras and they get in the back of cars and they're filming it and all this crap, so. But it's great. It makes a huge explosion and like blows out of the hole. It's a super deep hole. But anyway, he's savage, savage, savage. And the key, though, it says Skull Punch on it, which is kind of foreshadowing, but that's kind of also back to Fist Bump. There's something else there that I thought of today, but I just can't remember. But they are very much so big on these, like, kind of crank it up to 11. Spinal Tap, yes. Skull Punch, Spinal Tap, yeah. Golly, I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, that's what they're. I think that's a callback to Spinal Tap, or so, like a tribute. But also, this show is very much the crank it to 11 type names. There's an episode where Rigby changes his name to Trash Boat, And then, which I'm thinking is like making fun of the Edge or something, because there's this guy, the Urge, he changed his name to the Urge. Everything got better. But all these people are like, they're naming off all these ridiculous names. Crocodile Deathspin, Flex Dukin, but anyway, he gets this key skull punching, he's savage out in the field. And then, of course, it's Muscle Man Donuts. Well, the windshield wiper, stuff starts going haywire. The windshield wiper they start going off. The radio starts like twisting the dial, and it's going back and forth. And the AC vent opens up, and this green fog stuff comes out. And it wraps up Fives, and he goes to get Fives, but then the fog grabs Muscle Man from behind, and it forms into these three, I guess, like, I don't know what type of metal this is, but three, like, guys from a metal band. One of them's, like, extremely muscular, and he's almost puts me in mind of Motorhead.
That's exactly what I thought of, especially the lead singer sounds a lot like Lemmy.
Yeah. And one of them got, like, the Rob Halford black hat on. Every time I think of that, I think of Meatwad. If y'all need me, I'll be in the garage hanging sheetrock or rebuilding the motor around the sheetrock that I just hung up or something like that. I don't know. But I can't get into the content of that because this is not an adult show.
Oh, gotcha.
But, yeah, it's pretty bad, but it's funny. But, they've got Muscle Man and Fives like wrapped up, and they've got glowing green eyes. And honestly, the designs for them are kind of cool. It's just stupid enough that it looks ridiculous, but at the same time, it's like, that is kind of creepy. I get it. When you said this has some horror aspects to it, it's kind of scary, but it's very funny. It is like The Simpsons, man. It just, especially that guy on the left, he's got those leopard spotted pants on and that net top shirt and the orange headband. And he's like holding High Five's ghost like he's like, I don't know, like caressing him or something. It's just ridiculous. But so Muscle Man's like, who are you guys? And then really the lead singer does kind of sound like Lemmy, like, say, we're Skull Punch, And basically we learn that he says, and you're the pudgy green geezer that's trying to steal our caravan. So we gather that these guys died in this camper, pretty much. And that, what are you going to do? And they find out that Muscle Man's wanting to run this thing into the crash pit. And, they're kind of not happy with that. Eventually what happens is we get Muscle Man starts resisting. They get a fight-scene breakout. And, yeah, Muscle Man's like, you know who else? What does he say?
You know who else likes getting headbutted in the face? And the ghost is like, yeah, what? Like, walks right into the joke. My mom.
I don't know if he says doesn't like getting headbutted in the face or does like getting head. But if he says, you know who else does like getting headbutted in the face, it's like, yeah, we're going back to season 1 with the dirty jokes here or something. It's just, I love
the fact that the ghost actually gets headbutted and gets hurt.
Yeah, he's like who? He's like who? Yeah, yeah. And then he turns around. He roadhouses him into the stove back there. And this is a great scene. It's a good action scene. He runs up there. He's like, Fives. And then the Lemmy character gives him one of those Bruce Lee back of the fist punches to the nose, and he backs up and he squeals, and the Halford hat guy grabs him. Hello again, And there's something I love seeing about Muscle Man, just like kind of plea for his life.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Squealing? It was great.
He's like, I'm sorry we took your RV. If you let us go, I swear we're never brother. All that crap. And then the Lemmy guy's not having it, though. And I just love, like I said, that creepy guy with the mustache and the leopard pants. He ain't saying nothing. He's just sitting over there. Like, he's like the third man. He keeps, every time somebody says something, he'll look over at the Lemmy character to see what he says because, that guy's clearly the leader. And he's like, no, we ain't having it. It's too late. And he says, you wanted the RV to go into the crash pit? Looks like it's going to go in the crash pit. So, it looks like you two just got yourself some front row seats. So they're driving up to the crash pit. And, Rob, I know you mentioned this part right before we begin. Do you want to talk about it?
Let's see.
The concert.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. This is my favorite part of the entire thing. So Muscle Man's pleading. He's like, no, we can't just go down there. We got to play a show first. We don't want to disappoint them or be lame.
Everybody think we're losers.
Right. So Skull Punch, they slam on the brake just before they get to the edge of the pit. They hop out of the RV and they decide that they're going to rock the awaiting crowd before the big crash.
Why is there even a crowd? Is what I want to know.
Well, apparently that guy, Scotty, he got his friends real quick. And, considering Scotty was just sitting there watching TV and eating pizza, I mean, he moves fast.
Yo, Scotty! Yeah.
So, Lemmy, he gets out and he's like, have you ever seen a cat walking down the street? And you say, hey, that's a cat. Not a bat or a rat or a hat or a pat or a fat or a mat.
It's terrible. Yes.
It was like, or a fat. I love that the grammatically incorrect part of the lyrics.
Yes. And the drummer, he's just on the kick. He's like, thump, thump, thump.
Yeah, exactly. And then he keeps going. The next verse is, have you ever seen a goat? And then somebody from the crowd, I think it might be Scotty, goes, yeah, we've seen a goat. I want to see you guys crash into the pit. But the guys, they don't give up. They're like, devastation nation. Oh, it's so funny. I'm not doing the song justice, but it was great.
Listen, it's a terrible song.
Of course. It's so bad it's great.
It's one of the things. Yes, exactly. But Muscle Man's response, he's just going. He's trying to get out so bad, but the lock keeps breaking and everything, and he's just like, "Let me out! This song sucks." Yeah. So
see, I'm surprised. I thought Muscle Man would be into something like this.
I kind of thought so too, but I don't know. I don't know, man. That's the first time I saw it. Probably the first 5 times I saw it, I thought, this kind of does seem like it would be up Muscle Man's alley, but maybe he's just a classic rocker, and that's it.
Maybe, maybe he's more into the music as they're actually. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but as they're actually going down the pit, maybe he likes that kind of music more.
I did.
Me too.
I really thought that was pretty cool, that little interlude.
Yeah, it's so funny, and I know we're going to get into it in a second, but it's so funny how peaceful the sound is versus what's actually happening on screen.
And that happens a few times. I play like classical music, the something flower, I can't remember there's a YouTube playlist of regular show soundtrack, and there are a lot of good songs on there. They even have one from Velvet Underground, which is not, they're not necessarily my cup of tea, but like they use it for the regular show movie, and it just fits that scene that they use it for so well. But yeah, so Skull Punch is getting a bunch of crap thrown at him now, which kind of seems like that's the way it would be in real life, but they're just not playing to the crowd, the crowd that he's still going, a goat or a tote or a note. Sean, we need you to write the crappiest song you can think of, but it's got a rhyme. Okay. Muscle Man's just squealing. It won't open. So he gets tired of it, though, and he's just like, fine, my last resort. There's a cinder block in there, and he takes it and runs it up there and puts it on the gas pedal. I don't know why he doesn't just get on the gas pedal himself, but yeah. And Muscle Man, I guess, decides he's going down with the ship, and this music's so bad he just has to end it for the better of the world. I don't know. But like you were saying, Rob, as it's going down into the pit, I mean, you're right. It's such a contradiction. The music. Oh, there's fire coming out of the pipes too. But it's the song. I don't know. Something tells me they've used that song. They've recycled that, or they do recycle it at one point. It sure does
sound familiar.
It sounds either like kind of like Dust in the Wind, but there's whistling in it. So kind of like that song "Patience" from Guns N' Roses.
Oh, I can see that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's very like a very relaxed. This is my time. I'm content with my death type thing. And
as you see the band members just like flying down the cliff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a funny looking thing.
And the RV like cracks open and it hits them and it explodes. And this like green fog goes everywhere out of the hole. And everybody that's watching the crash pit, it comes out and it melts their face off.
Well,
So-
I'm sorry. Even before that happens, I think I have to watch it one more time. Like, but before the RV, like the band members, they fall first. I guess they land first. And then right before the RV crashes into them, the Lemmy guy goes, or a bat, and then boom.
Or a bat, yes. So they hit the side of the cliff, and I guess it knocks them off because ghosts, they still follow regular physics. How they can fly, I don't know, but I guess birds fly. Whatever, who cares? They hit the ground first, and yes, and the explosion's huge, and this reminds me a lot of when you get into the mushroom war type stuff with the Lich in Adventure Time. The imagery there is kind of it's definitely a different like signature style, but it's kind of that same type vein of this does have some horror elements to it, and it's very interesting. So so through all the carnage and everything, everybody's dead, including Muscle Man and Fives, because they kept floating up. And Muscle Man says, "Finally, I thought that was never going to end." And he's a ghost, and Fives is just smiling, the hand on top of his head. Muscle Man notices he doesn't have any legs, and he says, "Oh man, am I dead?" And Fives is like, "Yeah." So then we get, best crash pit ever. And I was thinking that, like, I thought for some reason they said something in this episode like Fives was already dead or something. So how did he die? I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking that they brought that up some in this episode, but maybe I just dreamed that up. But as entertaining as all that was, we get to the end of the first part of Terror Tales of the Park, and it's one of the better parts of the episode. It's definitely something to go out on a bang. Muscle Man plays this whole repetition type trope. He says, "The end." And he pulls his finger back and he's like pointing at him, and his shoulder is like cocked upward, and his arm's like supinated or protonated. I'm sorry. And he's like twisting inward, and pointing down. He's like, "And that's how you tell a story, babies." And he gives Fives, high five. Rigby says that was no better than the doll story. And then he goes up, gets in Rigby's face, and he goes, "You think you could do better? You think you could do better? Huh? Huh? Huh?" And he keeps pointing. And Rigby says, "Get out of my face!" And he shoves him, and Muscle Man laughs and says, "And that is how you get up in somebody's face." That part cracks me up every time. I'm like, what?
He's such a
Who
jerk.
does that? Yeah, but I mean, it's great. So, yeah, do you think you can do better? Is that it? And Fives just smiles through the whole thing, and it quick cuts to the end of that part at least. So, yeah. So I mean, just as let's view this as one single episode. Just as like, if there were if the next part wasn't coming up, what would you give this episode?
Oh gosh, if we're talking about both stories at the same time, man, both are so good. I would say, at least an 8, maybe a 9. I can't think of anything I didn't like about either one of them. They were so funny. And I think that the next one is just as good, if not even better. So I think I love both stories. I love the absurdity of, "I want to draw on your face." I love that. But I think I give the slight edge. I laughed even harder in the the band. They were just so funny to me. And especially when Muscle Man headbutts the one ghost and he goes, "Ow." Like they can feel pain. I love it. And then the last scene, of course, where the RV crashes on top of him. That just made me laugh so hard.
Gotta love the absurdity. And I think I lost track of thought there, but like the one thing I will say about this Halloween episode in particular, but most of them is they are very fast paced.
Yeah.
and very dense, but there's never a dull moment, and you really don't got to do much to keep up with what's going on.
Right.
So it really seems like beyond all the production value and everything that's put into it, like their layout and just the pacing and everything, they really put some effort into that, you know?
Oh, for sure.
So-
For sure. I mean, even if you just took the music alone, how much effort they put into that, not to mention the stories are very straightforward, fast paced, like you said. There's so many tributes to other horror movies still, like the top notch. Like that's why I've loved this episode. Probably, you know, I love the role playing episode. I forget what, but I Have a Receipt. I think that's what it was called. But I think I give the slight edge to this one so far. I've not seen every episode, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this one. This is my third time around talking about it or watching it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. So that first story was kind of a tribute or an homage to a lot of different horror movies. And there may have been some stuff in the second one. This third one is almost, well, no, I can't say that. There's other stuff in this third one, but this third one is probably the most original, I would say. The most like if it was called if there was something that was like a canonically regular show, well, I can't even say that because some ridiculous stuff happens, but it just seems, this seems the closest to their wheelhouse. So it's actually a separate episode, but they aired together. So this one's called In the House, and it opens up. Now, we get birds chirping, but we also get crickets chirping because it's nighttime. We're not at the park. Mordecai and Rigby are trick-or-treating. So we see Mordecai's finger hit the doorbell, and some lady comes out, and she's like, "Oh, would you look at that? What are you cutie supposed to be?" And all we see at this point is Mordecai, and he's dressed up like 50 or 60-year-old dad, I guess, and he's got a beard and a pipe. Well, here's what I don't get.
I love the corncob pipe.
He's got two pipes.
No, 2 pipes.
He's got 2 pipes. Yeah,
I didn't notice that at first.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. I know I've seen. He's got like the Buddy Holly horn rim glasses type deal. You know, not exactly the same, but similar. But he has what appears to be a corncob pipe attached to the beard, maybe, and then he has another pipe sticking out of the other side of his beak, and he's got his hands on his hips with like a Mr. Rogers sweater on, and he goes, "Ghosts, they're ghosts." And what it is, there's these 5 ghosts in front of him. They're all smiling, and they got Halloween bags, and you know,
It's pretty good.
those, you know, she's like, "I know, I was just asking them." And he says, "Well, they're shy. You know, they don't like to talk." And she goes, "Oh." So she fills up, she gives them each a piece of candy, tells them all Happy Halloween. Mordecai's like, "Now, what do you say?" And he says it in a deep voice, "What do we say?" And you see him hit his stomach and something clicks and you hear trick or treat, and it starts speeding up. And, you know, trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat. And we find out it's a cassette tape and it's going haywire. The pitch is increasing. It's getting faster and everything. I would have figured it would have been slower, but like he pulls the thing out and he's trying to stop it. You know, he's like, and the lady sees, you know, she's like, "Wait a second." She says, "Are those even kids?" And he doesn't say anything. He just takes off running. And the ghosts are attached to him, to his belt. And he takes off running and they're being drugged behind him. And you think, "Man, that's a great joke." And she goes, "Oh," and you think it's over. But then she goes, "Unbelievable." And Rigby jumps out of the bushes and goes, "Ah!" And she screams. He goes, "Give me candy, lady." And he's dressed up as a burglar. You know, the pinstripe and everything. He's got the almost like the Hamburglar from McDonald's. And it's like, you really have to applaud him for being true to character. But she just screams and goes inside. And he's like, "Oh, man." And I can't remember how many houses in a row, but he's like, "That's the 5th house," or something like that. You know, so I actually dressed up as a robber one year for Halloween. About 3 years ago.
Oh, so this is recent.
Yeah, I really didn't want to dress up as anything, but they're like, "You got to wear a costume." So whatever. So he chases down Mordecai, and he's like, "This is lame. I don't have any candy." He's like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't jump out of the bushes and scare everybody." Now no, never mind. That's just the art. Never mind. But I guess the last thing I'll say is we find out that underneath the ghosts, they're just balloons. They're filled with helium, probably tied up with sheets over top of them, tied to his belt. And he takes off the sheets and lets the balloons go. And Rigby's like, no, we can't call it a night. I don't have any candy. One more house. So, yeah, you take
Oh
it.
yeah. So Rigby he has to pick the creepiest house on the block, and he knocks on the door. The porch light was on, but then he knocks again, and it turns off. And of course, this really aggravates Rigby.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, seriously, really? You're gonna be like that?" So much that he decides he's gonna egg the place. So he conveniently has a carton of eggs, and just as he's pulling them out, Mordecai he pleads for Rigby not to egg the place, but Rigby's like, "Why not? There aren't any cops around." And then quick cut again. We see a cop right next to him going, "Hey, what are y'all doing with those eggs?"
Yeah, that's
right,
Simpsons,
exactly.
Dude. That's
so
definitely.
Rigby, he's trying to cover. He's like, "Oh, these are my snacks." And the cop's like, "Really? You're having raw eggs for a snack on Halloween?" And he's like, "I don't understand this generation." And of course, Rigby, I mean, he's trying to stay true to his character. He's like, so good, as he chomps into a raw egg. And of course, Mordecai's absolutely, grossed out. So the cop, who doesn't understand this generation, he ends up just driving off. And Rigby, he grabs the rest of the eggs and he hurls them at the old house. But suddenly, the wind blows and the front door bursts open. And I love the animation here, so good. And a very creepy wizard who looks strikingly similar to the wizard from the very first episode. He swiftly flies from the porch right to Rigby in the street. And he goes, "You're going to pay for that." Which do you think that was Mark Hamill? Because it sure did sound like him.
It is Mark Hamill, yeah. Yeah,
okay,
it's definitely
great.
Mark Hamill.
Like channeling his inner creepy Joker. It was great. So the wizard says, and he rips some of Rigby's hair off of his neck. Then he laughs as lightning strikes and gives Rigby one last... Sorry, I got a typo here.
No, you're fine. No problem. While you're looking that up, I got to say the cop, where he's like, "I don't understand this generation." And this is made off to be gross, and it's funny because he actually like chomps the shell on the egg. But like, I got to thinking about it and I thought 2011, raw eggs, I probably shouldn't say anything. This is not this is not health advice. I will just say that I know people that eat raw eggs, and they've eaten raw eggs for probably 30 years, and the only thing that's happened to them is their gut health has improved. I'm not saying that's what raw eggs do. This is disclaimer. This is not medical advice, but I know people that have done it and they're fine. I will say that with confidence. I'm not telling you to do it, my 5 listeners that know that I have no idea what I'm talking about. Even if I told you, why would you listen to me? I'm an idiot.
Oh, stop it.
But, raw eggs. I have eaten raw egg whites. I mean, so, I'm not saying it's cool or anything. I mean, I can understand that, but like, this is not far removed from the youth not eating raw eggs, but eating Tide Pods. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I don't know if, I think this was before that, but I mean, it's like, golly, buddy, if only you knew.
Yes, that was a thing for a while. It's sad. It wasn't that long ago. Probably 5 years, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so the wizard, he screams and he gets right next to Rigby's face, and he's got those red eyes. Very creepy cut here. And Rigby screams in the night, and then it transitions to him retelling the story at their kitchen table. I think it's the next day, and it's to Benson and Skips. And they're like, seriously, that's it? That's your story? They're not impressed at all, and they walk off. So they're bargaining over their candy, Mordecai and Rigby, and we see the shadow of the wizard fly across the window, unbeknownst to Mordecai. I love Mordecai so much. He's probably my favorite character. He's just so stinking funny. But and of course Rigby's kind of like the gullible one and stuff. Mordecai goes, "Oh wait, dude, did you hear that? You're acting all paranoid. Wait, did you hear that?" There's dead silence.
What?
And then he just lets out this long fart. Mordecai just cracks up and he eats some candy while Rigby's seriously creeped out. He's even seeing visions of Mordecai as the wizard for a split second. Oh, he's digging through his candy, and then I think he sees the wizard's face in the candy. Yeah. That's what it was. Yes. Sorry, I don't. Yeah. I can't. I was very, very early in the morning when I took these notes. So
no worries.
But then I'll turn it right back over to you. But yeah, that fart scene with Mordecai, toilet humor is not usually my favorite, but it was executed very well there.
My favorite part of that scene is just the transition from the lightning striking them screaming to Rigby being on top of the table, and it's still the same scream, but he's on top of the table holding his head going, "Ah!" And Vincent's like, "That's it." So it's like from complete terror to, it goes from a 10 to a 1, or something like that. But yeah, so like Rob said, he sees the wizard, and I don't know what the significance of that is, like whether the wizard's actually there or if he's just paranoid at this point, or if it's like, like a throwback to some symbolic thing in a movie or whatever. But regardless of whether the wizard's there or not, Rigby starts getting these pains or something, and he falls down on the floor, and Mordecai's like, "Rigby, are you okay?" And he gets what initially looks, what I thought was like a nameplate, but it's a number. It's 1348. It's this plate with a number on it. And then, they're freaking out, and Rigby's like pulling on it, trying to rip it off of him, and he's saying it won't come off. Mordecai, he's got his foot against him, trying to pry it off, And then Rigby's stomach starts like growling, and a doorknob pops out of it. And he falls down on the ground, and Mordecai goes, "That wizard put a curse on you." And he goes, "You think?" I mean, it's like, so Mordecai's freaking out. He's like, "You got to apologize." And Rigby, of course, being Rigby, "No way, I'm not going to apologize." His tail turns into a chimney chute, and finally he decides, "Okay, I'll apologize." And they take off running out the house. And then we see him running, and it quick cuts back to Rigby. He says, "Mordecai, I can't move." And he's already like shot up like almost like a bounce house, So Mordecai gets in the golf cart, drives to a little creepy house, knocks on the door. Nobody answers. He's like, "Please, we're sorry. Please just reverse the curse, okay? Blah, blah, blah. We're sorry for egging your house." And then the window, well, he actually says the line, "So, are we cool?" And like, it's like there was nobody even talking to him. And he asks, like, I don't know. It's obviously a question out of desperation, but he sees the window move, and he goes over there to inspect it, and you get like a a traditional type jump scare, and it's this ugly looking cat, and it's got this smile on its face, like this real mischievous looking smile. And then as Mordecai, Skips calls in, he's like, "Mordecai, you got to get back here. Rigby, you got to see this. You better get back to the house." So Mordecai leaves. Then the wizard comes by, and you see the wizard's hands pick up the cat. You don't actually see the wizard, but
yeah, creepy shot.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. Yeah, a whole lot that happens within probably like maybe a minute and a half. Nothing. I mean, it's all rising action. Nothing super significant, but it's not displeasing to watch. But we get to probably the best part of the episode next. So
Mordecai,
ahead,
he comes back with the entire crowd as they stare in awe at Rigby, who is now completely transformed into a giant house. And it is really funny looking that you just see this giant house, and you see this little Rigby head like sticking at the very peak of it, or the Rigby's upper body.
Yep.
So the whole crew, they walk inside Rigby's house, and it's a nice place, and Muscle Man's like, "Whoa, there's even a bathroom. Can I?" And Rigby's like, "No!" So the phone rings, and this is so cool. Just every one of the deaths in this short story are so iconic to a lot of the deaths that we see in popular horror movies, whether it's a Freddy movie, Friday the 13th. I mean, it's just, it definitely reminds you of it. So the phone rings, Pop answers, and the wizard in a menacing voice says that he is not through with Rigby. So Benson, he snatches the phone from Pops, and this really upsets the wizard. And he goes, "Dare you interrupt me? Now you're all going to pay." And then he reaches to the phone and strangles Benson. So that reminded me like a Freddy Krueger kind of moment right there.
Does he put it on speaker? I can't remember whether he does or not.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
Hey, before you go on, I'll forget this by the end of the podcast, so I got to point it out. But did you notice what they did when they walked inside the house? With something like you talk about Muscle Man, but Benson's like inspecting the carpet. But Skips goes over, and he's looking at something on the mantle. Did you notice what that was?
I didn't catch it, no.
It is a picture of the character Eileen. So that's kind of foreshadowing. Well, I mean, it's really not even foreshadowing. Well, maybe. But like, Rigby's had interactions with Eileen at this point, but like that kind of sets her up. He wants to act like he doesn't think about her, but like she's the picture on his mantelpiece.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know whether it was a joke at that point or not, but you knew that obviously if you'd seen up to this point, it's like they're probably going to, they're going to be together at some point for, I don't know how long, but, but yeah, that mantle's probably not far from where his heart would be. If the
very
house
good.
was a body. You know what I mean?
Well,
so yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
but I thought that their reactions to the house was just almost as entertaining as anything else.
I'm with you. That's interesting. So all of a sudden, it's now nighttime, and the crew, they're getting ready. And this again reminds me of, this actually made me think of the Lost Boys when they're all fortifying the house and everything before the vampires show up. And they're just kind of waiting there afterwards. Like, okay, they're coming any minute. So they each have their weapons and everything. And Muscle Man, he's got a shotgun. This is great. So this mysterious car pulls up, and Muscle Man, he makes his way out to him. But, this wizard clearly gets in Muscle Man's head. He goes, "What's the matter, Mitch? Don't have any clever jokes about your mommy?" And Muscle Man goes, "Hey, don't talk about my mom." Muscle Man, he shoots into the darkness, and he's dragged into the woods by this invisible force. And so the whole crew inside, they're seeing this, and they're hearing the Muscle Man's shotgun just, shooting off in the distance, and they're all freaking out. Then all of a sudden, dead silence. And then there's a knock on the door. So the crew, they're horrified. They watch it open as a skinless, funny-looking Muscle Man it stands in the doorway. He's like completely skinned alive here. And he goes, "I told you I was ripped," and then falls flat on his face.
That probably this scene right here is probably my favorite the whole episode, because just seeing them all with their weapons, because Vincent's got his nunchucks and he's so serious, and Mordecai's got a bat and the lightning strikes, and see the lighting on his face, and Fives has the machete, and it's just great the way he's holding it above his head,
great.
like he's floating, and it's but Pops has the slingshot.
That's right, I forgot about the slingshot.
And he's up in the room, and he's just kind of looking at it, and he's kind of like playing with it, but when Muscle Man gets he starts firing around in the darkness and everything, and you see for a brief second or two what all the other guys are seeing, and they're just seeing him shoot around, spinning around in circles, like when my dad would play Halo. If you watched him play Halo, that's about what it looks like, Foul, 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 just shooting at nothing, And when the most impressive shot, in my opinion, of this whole episode, though, is when he's getting drug off and he's shooting, and he shoots 3 times, and you see the light is closer the first time, and then he gets drugged, and you see it illuminate further back, and then even further back. That really that out of the whole show, I mean, for some reason, that sticks with me. I don't know why, because it may not be all that impressive, but I don't know. There's something just about the visual image of that just, it's like, man, I can remember that every time I watch this episode.
Right, if this was a legit horror movie, if somebody were to be attacked outdoors and that same thing were to happen, it's horrifying, right?
Yeah, especially if they don't know how to hold the the butt of the gun against their shoulder and they're tucking it underneath their armpit, firing around.
Well, Muscle Man doesn't need a proper form when he's
Oh yeah, sorry, bro.
But yeah, I'll turn it back over to you. Poor Muscle Man, he didn't make it, but at least everyone knows he's ripped now.
Yeah, told you I was ripped. So. He don't make me ask twice. He says, and he told you I was ripped. Well, now that kind of tells you the importance of this group in the show, or not importance, but their roles. Muscle Man, Skips is probably the strongest. Mm-hmm. We know by now that he's immortal. He doesn't die of old age. He could he's like an elf basically. He could die in combat or whatever. But being that old, he's very strong, and he's probably the best at combat, but Muscle Man is usually the guy we find out later that does all the grunt work and all the heavy lifting and everything, because he says, why are you not making Skips do that? And he's like, Skips is going to do my taxes. And Skips goes, I'm good at math, But but Muscle Man's their first line of defense, and they're like, oh no, we are so up the creek on this. This is not, Skip says, this is not good, So it's they've taken out that's their whole strategy. They're going to have Muscle Man hopefully try to take him out first. And then after that, the wizard comes in, dude, and he makes quick work of him. I mean, he opens the door. First thing that happens is the phone rings. Fives goes and picks it up. They're like, no, go pick it up. And this is kind of like Ghostbuster crap or something, I think. And I love it. He picks it up and he goes, hello, and then you're goodbye. And he reaches to the phone, pulls him into the phone, and like, it sounds like he's being sent through a blender or something, and it shoots him back out the phone, and it's just like, it's like white ectoplasm or something. And Benson's upstairs, and it makes him so sick that he has to turn around and cough up his gumballs, like he's like vomiting,
like, This physical comedy is so funny in this.
Yeah. And it's just, everybody's in horror at this point. Benson's coughing up the gumballs, like he says. Phone drops, and Fives falls out of the phone. What little's left of him kind of comes out of the phone. He says, worst call ever, An invisible force punches Mordecai against the bookshelf. And then Skips can't beat it because he can't see it. So he's, he gets punched one time, basically, and gets taken down. And here, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And he gets, I don't know if drugged or thrown telekinetically or something, but he gets thrown into the chimney, and then it just fire shoots out from the top. So, I mean, I know I said he can't die, but like, that's from old age. Like, he's obviously dead, dude.
He doesn't come back in this episode.
He ain't going to be back in Terror Tales Part 2. Well, I mean, he really is, but, But, so he gets taken up in flames. So there's their two strongest guys right off the bat, plus Fives is gone. He finds, you see, the camera is first person for the wizard, and he goes up the stairs, and you see the shower, and then he rips open the curtain, and Benson's standing there with the nunchucks, and he's kind of like holding them like, he doesn't know how to use them, and he's like, come here, gumball, or something, and he sticks him in the toilet and just flushes him down it, and the gumballs kind of flow over the toilet, and it's, right now, you can tell they just had like, in the production, they were like, let's just cram as much crazy crap into these death scenes as we can. We want to just pack that thing so full. So the last one, well, not last one, but cuts to Pops. He's in the room and he's trembling. He's on his bed. He's got that slingshot. He's going, show yourself, bad show, bad show. And then the door opens, it's invisible, and Pops has enough time to get one shot off that little tiny rock. Woo! And he shoots it. And then a look of terror on his face. But his death is kind of fitting of him. He's picked up, slammed against the ceiling, thrown into a dresser. The dresser falls over and disappears to Narnia or something. I don't know. But it's not gory. It just disappears. So Mordecai's the last one. He's laying down there. He's all, Homer Simpson punch drunk, and he's got the bat laying beside him. And he kind of gets up and he's like, I'll save you. Says, I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you. He walks up to the ceiling of the room, and right then, like a gust of wind blows through, and you hear something slice, and then it cuts to a shot of Mordecai's feet, and then his head falls down by his feet.
Jeez Louise, it was great.
Yeah. He's been beheaded by the wizard, and he says, so this is what it feels like to be Rigby's height, or something like that, be as tall as Rigby. That's it. So this is what it feels like to be as tall as Rigby. So everybody's dead, basically, except for Rigby, so yikes.
Yeah.
You.
Oh, sorry, buddy. You go ahead.
You go ahead and end it, because I've taken all the death scenes.
But they were so good. They were so good. So Rigby's freaking out. He goes, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. He's pleading with the wizard, please, forgive me. So finally the wizard, he flies all the way to the top of the Rigby house and confronts Rigby. He goes, I told you would pay. Rigby, exhausted and furious, shouts, well then, what are you waiting for? Just do it already. Rigby's like, just kill me. So at this point, I was like, wait a minute, wouldn't it be funny if he did? And then sure enough, that's exactly what he does. So the red-eyed wizard, who looks very creepy with the red eyes, by the way, he opens up this mysterious glowing box, and with a wicked laugh into the darkness, he hurls a couple of eggs at Rigby. And Rigby's like, what? Wait, what? Seriously? You turn me in a house and kill my best friend so that you can just throw some eggs at me? That's it? And the wizard's like, yep, that's it.
Yep.
He then turns Rigby into I think he turned Rigby into a giant egg and then cracks him over the ground with Rigby still screaming into the present timeline as the story concludes.
Well, he drops a big egg on him.
That's what it was.
He just drops a giant egg on the house.
Oh, what a climax to our story there.
Yeah.
And then Muscle Man, in this story, or back to the present time, he goes, weak. Our story about wrecking cars in the pit was way better. And this last part's great. So Rigby goes, "Oh, that's not it." And he transforms into the red-eyed wizard, attacks the group, and then shouts, "Happy Halloween!" And it was so good.
Yeah,
It was such another quick cut and creepy and just, it just felt like such an epic Halloween episode. I loved everything about all three stories, honestly.
Yeah, this is definitely, I mean, it's great. And Muscle Man, look out, guys. Some creepy old guy's going to turn us into a house, He's waving his hands around. I mean, like the humor in these episodes, the only time I think it let off is when Mordecai went to play with the wizard.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's just like throughout this whole 30 minutes, it was just like full steam ahead, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So this is one probably about every Halloween I go back and watch. Because usually I'm watching a regular show about this time of year just to watch it. When school starts back, I don't know why, but I like watching regular show when school starts back because
I understand that, though, because sometimes there's certain shows or certain games that I'll play at certain times of the year. It just puts me in a good mood or reminds me of that time period, or maybe both.
Yeah, what is it? It's not Seventh Saga. What is the game you always
Shining
play?
Force for the Sega Genesis.
Shining Force.
It started right in 1993. I remember borrowing it from my neighbor, and I remember beating it over Thanksgiving break. I might have started it earlier, but I beat it during that break. So every Thanksgiving, I love the game so much. It's like tradition now. I've been doing it for like 20 years in a row, or longer than that, obviously now. But I totally understand. There are certain shows that I'll kind of come back to, or especially the new tradition I've had lately is I cut on the 1995 Spider-Man cartoon and I'll have it playing in the background on Saturday mornings. I don't know why. It just puts me in a good mood and reminds me of my childhood a little bit. So I've been doing that for like the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think probably the reason that when I knew you, when we worked together as like teacher and I wasn't there subbing, I watched the regular show for the second time. I watched it the first time and I really loved it, but I didn't know why I liked it. But that time after that, I like it because of the camaraderie. Yeah. It's like the most camaraderie. I don't know if it's a word, but show that I can think of. And I think probably the reason I like it so much is like here, it's just nobody's fault or anything, but just the situation that it is here. It's like that almost fills the void of lack of camaraderie that this place has kind of become, like just the town in general. It's like even when you're part of something bigger than you really don't feel like you think the connection that these people feel.
No,
you know what I mean?
I completely understand that.
It's like living vicariously through the characters because like you can tell that they're as dysfunctional as they are definitely a team,
You were saying in one of your previous episodes, I think some of the best episodes are usually when they're all together. It's great. So it was kind of like a nice relief after Pop's first story that, oh, wow, they're all together telling stories. So this ought to be great. Which character's going to tell the next one? But it really makes you appreciate when they're all together. I don't know why. The individual episodes where we get individual characters are always great. They're always welcome. You get a lot of great character development. But it really shines when you've learned a lot about these characters individually, and now you cram them all in the same room.
Yeah. So, I'll ask you that here in a second. But, you know what? Real quick, while you're thinking of the rating you would give them, I'm going to go very quickly through the trivia and the episode connections because we may have missed some. We may have found some that the wiki didn't find, but trivia. This episode contains 3 shorts and it's the first half-hour episode of the series. So yes, it is the first 2-parter of the series. This is the first half-hour Halloween special of the series. That's kind of redundant, wiki. It's revealed that the park has a giant hole where Muscle Man and High Five Ghost wreck cars in, which they call the Crash Pit. However, it wasn't proven to exist until the best burger in the world. I didn't know that was. I'd forgotten that was in the best because I know the best burger in the world story, and I'd forgotten that was the. Dang. Anyway, a picture of Eileen is revealed to be inside the house after Rigby turned into it in the 3rd short, implying he has feelings for her, but doesn't like to show it as of this point in the show. This is the first official episode in which Muscle Man dies. The car Muscle Man drove into the crash pit is the 1977 Ford LTD Mark II, or just 2, whatever. Episode connections, Mordecai does the same fart trick to Rigby that J.G. Quintel did in his pilot short, 2 a.m. in the p.m. 5 sequels followed this episode annually every season until the show ended in season 8. Skull Punch have a cameo in season 4, making Muscle Man's story true. Oh, yeah! Exit 9B. Exit 9B was originally supposed to be the series finale.
Oh, wow.
And it was a 2-parter episode, and I'd forgotten about Exit 9B. It's a great episode. Like, it's one of them, like, movies that would, like it's set up format of, like, a movie where they go on a journey and they've got to go back and rebuild, and, you know, like one of them epic movies that would win awards and whatnot.
Cool.
But it's like a legit story, Exit 9B is, but it's a great one. I'd forgotten about it. Scenes from this episode are seen in season 4, Exit 9B, and in season 8, Meet the Seer, which is, I won't give that one away, but yeah, they kind of do a fourth wall breaking recap of not really, well, maybe. They did kind of a recap of the series, but, so yeah, let's see. Pop culture references. The franchise this episode creates is a parody of The Simpsons' Treehouse of Horror Halloween series. Yeah, that's Creepy Doll is a reference to 1988 film Child's Play. Okay, called that. In the House, is a reference to the Evil Dead franchise.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
Didn't even think of that. Yeah, I mean, especially with like kind of some of the gory scenes and everything. Have you seen the original Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Dude, the first time I watched that, I had it on VHS and I'd never seen it. And, yeah, I was watching it with a girlfriend of mine at the time. And dude, she freaked out so bad. I mean, like, legit, like, lost her wig, dude. She didn't wear a wig, but like, you know, she just freaked out. She's like, I gotta go home.
In the basement? Oh, man, it's awful. So, the demon?
I didn't believe it was so. I was like, I can't believe this is so good. This is like, I was like, I thought, you know, these were supposed to be funny movies, you know, and it was just like, man alive, this is intense almost, you know, when first time you ever see it.
The first one was legitimately scary, and then the second one really kind of crossed that line into kind of funny territory.
I'm telling you, though, it freaked her out so bad when I was driving her home. Something jumped out in the road, and she about...
Bless her heart.
I was like, jeez, calm down. You're scaring me now, you know. But, let's see. When Muscle Man was skinned alive by the Halloween Wizard, his body accurately resembles Colossus Titan from the anime Attack on Titan. Yes, I can attest to that. Have you ever seen Attack on Titan, Rob? Dude, there's something about that show. I don't like that show. Sorry, everybody, if you like that show. I haven't seen the last 2 seasons, I guess, because right when they start to go to that island to take the fight to the Titans, that's when I stopped watching. I don't remember that. There was no more episodes at that point. There were no more episodes. So, but I could not stop watching that show. But I hated the writing on that show. I could not, and I didn't like you get attached to somebody and they die. It's like it never fails. Don't get too attached to anybody; they all die. But kind of like this episode. But that show, what got me was there's like I guess would be the equivalent of a boss fight. The writing always seems so horrible. I know I've said that, but like this guy, he has this serum that'll turn him into a Titan or something, and he's got it in a syringe, and he's going to give himself a shot. And he's like, once I take this shot, you know, I'll be a Titan, blah, 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 Exposition City. And they're all, no, no, no. And it gets knocked out of his hand, and the vial breaks on the ground, and like the serum or whatever it is spills out on the ground. And he's like, no. So he jumps down and he starts licking it off the ground, and that turns him into a Titan anyway. He's like, why would you freaking inject that when you can just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that's just stupid. Like I can suspend disbelief for the giant tall people running around and a lot of the other just ridiculous writing tropes they had. But when you start saying that you can take something orally and it's just as effective as it would be when you have to inject it.
That's where you draw the line.
And it's something that's anabolic and grows you. No. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But anyway, Goofs. And then we'll be finished. Goofs. Creepy Doll. Pop's record player disappears in the close-up shorts and reappears in the long shorts. When Mordecai's looking through Pops' room through the keyhole, the door handle is gold. When Mordecai's trying to break into Pop's room, the pattern of the door changes and the doorknob is positioned differently when he enters the room. There are no items in a nearby box when Percy dies. The candy next to Rigby changes from yellow to brown and back to yellow. I remember seeing that. I didn't pay attention to anything else, but I remember seeing that one. Death Metal Crash, Harold, who is the lead singer, so it's not Lemmy, sometimes has his teeth colored the same as the skin. They're shown as white in other frames, though. And in the house, albeit in a story, Rigby is shown to be able to eat raw eggs with no... I can't believe I didn't think of this. Rigby is shown to be able to eat raw eggs with no trouble. However, Excellent, which is an episode you haven't seen, Rob. You'll have to get on for that one. It's down the road in season 3. Excellent shows that he is allergic to fully cooked omelets.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. That's the only episode of regular show to win some kind of big award. I don't know, Emmy or whatever it's called. I don't know. And then there's a bunch of alternate versions in the UK. I'm not going to bore everybody with going through that. Well, a lot of stuff was censored. Let's just put it that way. A whole lot of stuff was censored, yes. Muscle Man's head-butted in the face joke was changed, too. Do you know who else likes getting roundhouse kicked in the face? But I knew there was something suggestive about the head-butted in the face. Anyway, what would you give this episode?
Oh, man. If like I said earlier, I think I give the slight edge to this last story. All 3 were so good. I think they got continually better or even more hilarious as they went. I would give this one a 9 out of 10. You brought up a great point. I didn't think about it at the time, but yeah, the one scene where Mordecai is going up to the wizard, trying to apologize. That's the only part that's a little slow, but I still like it for the fact that it kind of establishes that really creepy tone, where of course the cat shows up and then you see this creepy looking hand reaching toward the cat. Just great imagery. But that's the only time that the story slows down at all. So if it weren't for that little part right there, the pacing, and again, I'm grasping for straws here. I would give this a perfect 10. I loved this story. Definitely my favorite out of the 3, although all 3 were great.
I'm going to give it probably a 9. I can think of, like I said, it's definitely in my top 10. But I would like to think that the show grows and gets better on some aspects. And I know that it does in at least one episode. And I'm thinking Exit 9B probably is another one that's above this one if I had to. And probably Excellent. I would probably put that one above. But like this is definitely a top 10. It's every bit deserving of a 9. There's not really much wrong with it. It's just like a 10 is going to be your best episode. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a ranking issue at that point. So, people, go out of your way to watch it. I mean, it's not a hard watch at all. I mean, it's 30 minutes, but it realistically, I mean, it feels like you're getting 3 full stories, but they don't feel long and drawn out at all, like this podcast. Right. So, exactly. So with that being said, people, we have to go record that Spider-Man podcast that Rob was talking about. Check it out in January whenever it comes out, or maybe earlier. Keep an eye out. What's it called, Rob?
Saturdays, my friend.
All right, so keep an ear out as well. Spidey Saturdays, keep an eye out. I'm guessing you're going to be putting it up on Saturdays.
Oh, absolutely.
I figured you'd say, no, actually I'm doing Mondays.
There's more traffic flow, those days.
Yeah. All right, people. So, I don't think I've made any major announcements. If you would share, follow, if you would leave a review, I hear that helps get this show to pop up on other people's suggested listening and all that. But thank you for listening regardless. Appreciate it. And I look forward to hopefully hearing from some of y'all in the future. I think you can, on Anchor FM, or if you just follow the link to the show, I believe that you can leave a voice message, or you can email us at what they set up, texmexandcandy@gmail.com. TEXMEXCANDY. So Tex-Mex and Candy, TEXMEXANDCANDY@gmail.com. The only thing I've gotten from them so far is people spamming me, trying to get me to purchase their services to artificially grow the podcast with numbers of people who aren't actually listening. So
I've had that too. I've had a few of those.
I I've seen that. Yes, exactly. I've seen how that works on Silicon Valley. You know, some people over in India are just, you know, they're just running fake people, fake bots, listening to the show or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not for the whole whatever. So until a couple weeks from now, people, have a happy Halloween.